Coming up on Carolina Connection, we'll meet a group drumming for a great cause. Plus, introduce you to a local barber making a difference in the community. That's all ahead on this edition of Carolina Connection.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for Carolina Connection. I'm Taylor Cook.
And I'm Kimberly Hyde. Carolina Connection is a production of the Carolina School of Broadcasting in partnership with Cox Media.
We're here at Daniel Stowe Botanical Garden in the Orchid Conservatory. This glass house is home to orchids and tropical plants that can be seen year-round. It measures 8,000 square feet and is the only one in its kind in the Carolinas.
Our first story takes place in Huntersville, where we'll meet the Swimmer family. They organized the longest continuous drum circle on all the planet, all in an effort to cure cancer.
In Huntersville, North Carolina, there are powerful rhythms being created. What's happening here goes far beyond simply making music. This is Drum Strong, where people come together to drum for hours upon hours. But what is the deeper meaning behind the drumming?
We're drumming to beat cancer. We raise awareness and funds through rhythm activities globally. We encourage survivorship support, education and research support, and we're doing it in the most unique way.
And unfortunately for the Swimmer family, cancer has been a very real threat.
I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma. It's a rare bone cancer when I was 15 years old. My father was actually diagnosed with prostate cancer while I was going through treatment.
The goodness that we hold, that we have in us, and that we share is Drum Strong.
There's nothing like being told that your child has cancer. When Mason came through it in 2006, he was invited to ride with Lance Armstrong on the Ride for the Roses. And that was a very interesting moment. That said, I didn't think he would ever get on a bicycle again.
We thought, what's a great way to get everybody involved? So I've been banging on stuff my whole life, and music was the natural answer. So 9 years ago, we had the first annual Drum Strong, 2007, and we drummed for 25 hours nonstop.
Drum Strong is a sponsored event, with sponsors pledging to donate a certain amount to cancer research and charities based on the hours spent drumming. But anyone can join and be a part of the circle.
I get a lot of people responding to the call of participating in a drum circle that say, I ain't got rhythm, I don't drum, I'm a banker, look at me. And I say, you got a heartbeat, you got a pulse, share it. It's that simple.
My dad actually died of cancer, so drumming for cancer is really cool. Drum circle is cool. I felt really connected with it. I don't know anybody out there, but we're all on the same beat and we're all, trying to do the same thing, having a good time.
There's really no better way in my book to come together as a community. You can look across the circle, you don't have to say a word, and connect with somebody and know that you're drumming for a common cause.
In every Drum Strong drum circle, we encourage people to drum in honor of, in memory of, for their own fortification as needed, or just for the joy of it. There is real sharing and there's real powerful memories created in every Drum Strong drum circle. We know that you have the power in your hands to participate in that effort. You got a heartbeat, you got a pulse, you can join in.
From the rhythm of the drums to the beating of our hearts, Drum Strong, drums on. I'm Mark Allwine, reporting with Carolina Connection.
So Taylor, have you ever been in a drum circle before?
No, but I'd like to try it sometime. It's a great organization with an even greater cause.
For more information on Drum Strong, visit drumstrong.org.
Coming up, we'll introduce you to a Charlatan of the Year who's helping bring police officers and the community together.
Welcome back to Carolina Connection. We're here at the beautiful Daniel Stowe Botanical Garden, where visitors have been enjoying over 400 acres of gardens for over 25 years. Named by HGTV as one of the nation's 20 greatest gardens, it is a must-see attraction on Charlotte's west side.
On the opposite side of Charlotte, on the east side, is a barbershop owned by Sean Corbett. He was recently named Charlottean of the Year because of his Cops and Barbers program. Let's see how he is making a difference in our community.
I'm proud to call them Charlotte Magazine's 2015 Charlotteans of the Year.
37-year-old Sean Corbett may be Charlotte's most reluctant celebrity. It was never his intention to be honored at civic events or collect awards.
I didn't realize that it was that big of a deal, but I really appreciate it.
Simply known as Lucky around the neighborhood, Corbett owns the Lucky Spot Barbershop on North Tryon Street. He's been cutting hair in the same chair for nearly a decade.
I cut everyone from pastors to Carolina Panthers to law enforcement to the everyday city worker. That chair is like my home.
Corbett's shop is a cornerstone in the Sugar Creek community where many children are born into poverty and raised by single mothers. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, Corbett can relate.
My mother worked a lot, so we had a lot of time for yourself. So I got into some of the stuff that most young kids get into. As I got older, things started to get worse.
After years of police run-ins and a couple of prison stints, Corbett turned his life around.
Me being a business owner and coming from where I came from to now, I think I'm just a great example, just letting people know that where you start is not where you have to finish.
Corbett believes giving back is just as important as getting a good haircut.
Once I bought this barbershop in 2010, I vowed that I will always give back. It does take a village to give back to the community and give positive influences to the kids.
When conflicts between police and young black men made headlines in 2014, Corbett took notice, most notably the violence that erupted in Ferguson, Missouri after the Michael Brown verdict.
I sat up that night and I watched them destroy their own neighborhood. And I just knew that something had to be done because I felt like at that time that if Michael Brown would have had some form of a relationship with that officer, I think that that situation could have been prevented.
Moved by the Ferguson riots, Corbett came up with a concept of how to build better police and race relations right here in Charlotte. That idea became known as Cops and Barbers, a program that connects community members with Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officers.
When Sean came up with the idea of how we can have more people that we can mentor, then it is developing to the organization Cops and Barbers. It benefits the community because we don't want to have the conflicts that Ferguson and other cities have.
Well, it is one of those amazing initiatives that starts in the community with one person who has a great idea, and this was one idea that became an amazing sensation because it's an opportunity for our police officers to interact with the public.
Corbett and CMPD organize events across the city.
First and foremost, our cops get to talk to kids and connect on a human level and really start building that trust that we all seek in this line of work, especially right now.
Most of the time when we're out with the community, it's because something's wrong or somebody called us. What we're trying to do here is create an environment where we can have normal, everyday conversations, fellowship with one another, and learn from each other.
Each event draws hundreds of kids and parents, connecting the community in a way that promises a lasting, positive impact.
We have been to countless high schools, countless elementary schools, and we have these great conversations with kids. I have kids coming out here today that would have not come to an event like this a year ago.
Kids often learn about what they see. So if they see that people coming together, having a good time, you know, they see officers there, and then they also bring that back home and they bring it back to school. So it's really good.
We know that public safety is a two-way street, and the Cops and Barbers program has really moved us forward in that building of trust, understanding, and seeing folks on a human level.
Cops and Barbers gained national attention last year when it was recognized by President Obama. Corbett earned 2 trips to Washington, D.C., but says his motivation remains simple.
A kid like me, I would have never thought I would be at the White House. But to me, the most important thing is when a complete stranger comes up to me and says, "Hey man, keep it up." Or people say, "Hey man, our kids need to be saved. There's a lot going on that needs to be changed. We believe in you, we appreciate it."
Despite the magazine covers, media interviews, and Charlottean of the Year honors, Corbett desires a legacy far greater than the limelight.
When it's all said and done, I want people to know that he really cared. Just letting kids know that you care can make the difference between going right or left. I'm just a regular guy that care about my community and the kids that's in it.
He's the most honorable person I've met in the last 5 years. His heart's in the right place. He's doing things for the right reasons, and he wants to make Charlotte a safer city. How can the chief of police not love that?
The success of Cops and Barbers shows great promise for police and community relations in Charlotte. And Corbett maintains, we can all do our part to make a difference.
It's up to us to understand that we can control what happens in our city. We have to love our city. We have to continue to make Charlotte one of the best cities in the United States. Thank you.
For Carolina Connection, I'm Kimberly Hyde.
Kim, you were the story producer on this piece. What did you take away from this experience?
I was just so impressed by Sean's commitment and passion to help the community. And if you'd like to get involved with Cops and Barbers, visit theluckyspotbarbershop.info.
Good work, Kim. Coming up, we'll take you to a coffee shop in Mooresville that every veteran would enjoy visiting. Welcome back to Carolina Connection. Our next piece focuses on veterans. Kim, do you have any veterans in your family?
Actually, yes, and both of my grandfathers served in World War II.
Well, Richard's Coffee Shop in Mooresville is considered a living military museum as well as a home for veterans. Check it out.
In the middle of downtown Mooresville, there's a coffee shop, but this isn't just a coffee shop.
Started by a guy by the name of Richard Warren, a Vietnam vet, helicopter pilot, and they just wanted to open a gourmet shop, coffee shop, and nothing particular to do with vets.
It's also a living military museum filled with America's service history.
Richard was one of those guys, had an incredibly big heart and a big soft spot in his heart for vets.
With a simple beginning, Richard's Coffee Shop grew into Welcome Home Veterans Living Military Museum.
Richard Warren, back in the late 90s, had a place across the street here that was about a third the size of this, and people started bringing in artifacts, pictures and photographs, and giving them to him, and so he started displaying them by hanging them on the wall. We get donations. I mean, people pass through town that have heard of us from other states that bring in donations. It's really difficult to pick a favorite, but I like there's a photograph of General Eisenhower and General Bradley and General Patton, standing together, and you could see almost like the frustration in Patton's face.
And here at Richard's Coffee Shop, not all the history is found decorating the walls.
We call this a living military museum because there's a bunch of us old dinosaurs in here that can point to a picture and say, I was there, or I know about this because I experienced it.
The coffee shop over the years has become a place for veterans to come and gather and share the bond they have made through military service.
Well, the original owner was a Vietnam veteran himself, and he was very instrumental in pulling a lot of veterans in. He welcomed veterans. He tried to honor them when they came in. He tried to assist them in any way he could if they needed any kind of help. Just his personality drew me as well as others in as veterans.
Sadly, Mr. Richard Warren passed away in 2009. But before he passed, he asked his family in arms to do him a favor.
Before he passed, he asked some of us if we'd get together and try to figure out how to form a 501c3 nonprofit that he wanted to call Welcome Home Vets, that would keep his legacy alive of what he was doing for all veterans.
The Welcome Home Veterans organization has put forth effort to help needy veterans in the area. They have helped vets find homes, provide dinners on holidays, and help to regain that military bond they have lost.
And I've been told that this is a place of solace and support and healing. I've had particularly Vietnam vets come in here. I've been carrying this stuff for decades, who have told me this place has saved their lives. We've got some World War II vets in here who have lost wives or families. Their family now has become the coffee shop. And I've had several of them tell me that the thing that keeps them going is being able to come in here on Thursday or Saturday. I can tell you there's no needy vet that's ever walked through that front door that hasn't been helped in some way or another.
This place is not just for veterans. It's a place to come and experience the memories of the proud men and women that have served in the United States military.
It's a wonderful place, a very special place for especially veterans. Of course, the shop is open to the public, and we want anybody and everybody who will come in.
So I'd encourage people to come here just to see the history here and just to talk to some of the vets in here and get some firsthand experiences and firsthand stories of what folks went through when they served.
Richard's Coffee Shop is a great place to come and get to know some of your area veterans and have a good time. If you find yourself in Mooresville, stop in, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the atmosphere and listen to some stories from America's heroes. I'm Jay Hunt with Carolina Connection.
This coffee shop is not only a historical museum, but a place where all veterans are welcome. To learn more about Richard's Coffee Shop, visit welcomehomeveteran.org.
When we return, we'll take a look at Charlotte's first fire school and see how it serves the Queen City today.
Welcome back to Carolina Connection, coming to you from the beautiful Daniel Stowe Botanical Garden. According to USA Today, the garden is one of America's best places to welcome both spring and fall.
Another great landmark in the Charlotte area is the Palmer Building. The building was home to Charlotte's first firefighter training school and is still being used today.
In the city of Charlotte, there is a castle. And like most castles, there's rich history attached to it. This castle never held royalty, but was the place where firemen learned the skills to serve our community. This is the Palmer Building, the site of the first fire school in North Carolina. Though today it serves as a historic and scenic event venue, its impact on our community is far-reaching and has changed through the decades. The building bears the name of Hendrix Palmer, a visionary fire chief who served Charlotte for 21 years.
To me, some of the things that drove Chief Palmer to institute training was he lived through a period of where we had quite a few firefighter fatalities on the job. He saw that. He was at a couple of those fires where he saw firefighters die. And so I think it drove him to bring about a more standardized training. And really prior to the 1930s, there's very little training. Men came to the fire department with very little or no knowledge and were actually trained on the job.
Shortly into his tenure as fire chief, Palmer began the process of having the building built.
Chief Palmer, I think, begged, pleaded, horse traded to do whatever he could to get the Palmer Fire School. It was an 8 to 10 year process ultimately.
The fire school's construction as part of Roosevelt's WPA program put men back to work at one of our nation's most difficult times.
Most of the firefighters that I would think had a part of building this building were proud of their department. They were very interested in building a facility that was their own, but even more importantly, it became very symbolic of a typical firehouse where it became a part of the community.
Though the Palmer Building stands as a testament to Palmer's vision and ingenuity, it is far from his only accomplishment.
One thing he oversaw was the development of a fully enclosed fire truck, because up until that time, everything firefighters stood on the tailboard of fire apparatus.
During its time of operation, many men were trained at the Palmer Building, and it served as a mecca for fire training in the state of North Carolina.
It was on top of its game. I felt like when they got through with us in 10 weeks, we were ready to be firefighters. That's what there was not a whole lot of downtime. There was only 12 of us, so you had time to really get hands-on. The Palmer Fire School, once I graduated from it, it made me very proud to be able to get through it, and something I could take with the rest of my life throughout my career.
Firefighters in Charlotte still revere the Palmer Building as hallowed ground.
This is history right here. I know there's a lot of young guys probably would love to be able to be here like me and say they went through it, because it's very unique to went through something that had this much history behind it.
Today, the Palmer Building serves as a community gathering place where people from all walks of life come to celebrate.
Now that the Palmer Building has changed somewhat, it is still very significant to the community in that people start their lives here, getting married and having their wedding receptions here. We also use it for fundraisers, which makes a huge impact on the community.
The people who built this building weren't looking for accolades. They built this building because they knew the positive impact it would have on the community. They knew the people who would come through its doors would go out and save lives. But don't go looking for heroes. Most prefer to remain nameless.
Listen, just always remember this. You're humble public servants. That's what you are. We're not heroes. We've got a job to do, and you're humble public servants.
From its construction in 1939 all the way to today, the Palmer Building remains a jewel in the crown of the Queen City. I'm Taylor Gilliland reporting for Carolina Connection.
It's great to see one of Charlotte's famous landmarks still standing strong today.
And it's great for weddings and fundraisers too. For more information, visit thepalmerbuilding.com.
That wraps up this edition of Carolina Connection. A big thank you to Daniel Stowe Botanical Garden for allowing us to bring our show to you from the beautiful Orchid Conservatory.
If you have a story that you would like to see on our show, please let us know. Drop us a line at csbradiotv.edu. Thanks for joining us.
And we'll see you next time.
If you want to learn about broadcasting and see what happens behind the scenes in radio, TV, or digital media, Carolina School of Broadcasting has a one-week summer workshop program especially for you.
Hi, I'm Mark Taylor, traffic anchor and reporter here at Channel 9. I'm a graduate of the Carolina School of Broadcasting, and I look forward to having the opportunity to share with the summer workshop students what a day in the life of a television reporter might look like. I hope you'll join us for a first-hand look at the digital media broadcast industry.
Join us at the Carolina School of Broadcasting for our one-week summer workshop. You'll learn from professionals in radio, TV, and new media. Scholarships are available. Register today. WSOCTV.com.